Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how I do embroidery on silk ribbon to make my own tags for my quilting projects. So let's go over the things that you'll need to embroider on ribbon. Today I'm going to be using my medium-sized embroidery hoop and some sulky lightweight tearaway stabilizer. You could also use a cutaway stabilizer to hoop into your embroidery hoop. And I also have some sulky sticky fabric solvay, which is a water-soluble stabilizer. You'll need your image that you're going to embroider. I have some painter's tape and some scissors, and you'll need some ribbon. I like using all different colors and widths of ribbon. Today we're going to be using this pink one, which is 2 1/4 inches wide, and my little logo fits almost edge to edge on this ribbon. However, I have used different ribbons as well. You'll just need to make sure that whatever you are embroidering fits onto your ribbon. So these two ribbons here I use for a smaller logo, and today I'm going to be trying a new logo with this pink ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and hoop my stabilizer and we'll meet at the embroidery machine. Here we are at the embroidery machine, and I'm going to pull up my logo. Here on the screen, it comes up in the smallest hoop, so I want to go ahead and change that to the medium size hoop, and that gives me a little bit of space to work in. So there we are on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and click the little needle, which activates the sewing process. I'm going to load my embroidery hoop onto the machine, and you'll notice I only have the stabilizer in the hoop at the moment. The very first thing I want to do is add a basting box, and this is going to give me a position in which to work with my ribbon. So we're going to go ahead and stitch the basting box directly onto the stabilizer, and I'll just bring you along while I do that. This eliminates any guesswork when trying to position your ribbon inside the hoop. So stitch out your basting box, and then we'll meet back as soon as this is done. Okay, here we are with our basting box. I've used red thread so you could see that. And I have myself a piece of ribbon. What I like to do is center the ribbon inside that basting box and take a pin and mark on all sides of the ribbon, giving myself a guide to line up the ribbon inside the hoop. The next thing I'm going to do is bring over a razor and cut out my little basting box, removing that from the hoop. And what this does is create a little window so that we're not actually stitching through the stabilizer. So there's our little window. And now we're going to cut ourselves a piece of the water-soluble stabilizer. This stabilizer dissolves in water and will wash out of your ribbon if you wash your project. We're going to cut a size that is larger than our little window. And on the back side it has a paper backing. You remove that and the stabilizer is sticky on one side. We're going to go ahead and stick that underneath of our embroidery window to the back side of the stabilizer. We're going to add our ribbon in the center using our guides and press everything down really well. The stickiness from the water-soluble stabilizer is going to hold down the part of the ribbon that we're stitching on. And then I'm going to take some painter's tape and tape down the ribbon on the top. And now let's go back to the embroidery machine. We are back at the embroidery machine, and the very next thing to do would be to stitch out our logo. Now my machine has a pinpoint placement, and so I've already checked to make sure the center of my logo is directly in the center of my ribbon. So you might want to double check that before you start stitching. And I thought I'd bring you along while the machine does the embroidery, so you can see how well the ribbon stays into place. I've been experimenting with my logo and different sizes on different ribbons, and I really love the look of adding a tag and branding to my items. The letters of my logo, I purchased the font from an Etsy shop, and I love how well they work. The little quilt block that's going to stitch out next is something that I'm experimenting with. It's actually a Virginia State quilt block, and I would love to add it to my tags and my logo. However, I think I still need a little bit of work to do with the digitizing. I'm not really like 100% happy with the way that it stitches out, but I would love to perfect that and add the little quilt block to my logo. So you can add these tags to all kinds of projects. I love to add them in my quilt projects, especially the quilts that I do on commission. You could add them to totes and bags, small art quilts. You could sew them into your garments. And you'll see that the ribbon is staying exactly where it's supposed to, while the machine works very hard at stitching everything out. And there's my logo. So let's go remove all the tape. And our logo is complete. Now I did forget to mention that I went ahead and added some painter's tape to the back side, just making sure that that water-soluble stabilizer didn't do any shifting. Now we can remove the painter's tape from the front side, gently pulling it away from the ribbon, and it just lifts right off of there. Now we can flip the hoop over and pull away the sticky stabilizer, and there is our hoop, and we're ready to go ahead and add another piece of water soluble on the back and stitch out another tag. And here is our ribbon. I go ahead and take a pair of scissors and cut away all of the extra. Because this does dissolve in water, I don't get really picky about cutting the stabilizer completely away. It will dissolve the first time you wash your quilt or your garment. Or you could take this piece of ribbon and run it under some warm water in the faucet, or just submerge it into a bowl of water if you wanted to do it that way as well. I just go ahead and trim off as much as I can without getting too close to the logo. And I leave it in there until the project is washed. Flipping over to the pretty side, there's our logo. And now we can fold over part of the ribbon and create our tag just like that. And this looks very professional and very clean looking when you add it to your project. And at this point you can trim away all the extra ribbon that you don't need. So let me bring in my quilt project. I'm working on a Valentine's Day quilt for the front of my refrigerator. And I will just eyeball how much of the quilt tag I need for this project. And I'm going to be sewing this into the binding on the back side of my quilt. And now we can trim away the extra parts of the ribbon. Align it to the raw edge of my quilt, and when I fold the binding over and sew my binding to complete my quilt, it'll permanently sew in my tag. I hope you find this very helpful. I would love to hear from you in the comment section if you have any questions. You can also contact me on Facebook or through Etsy. The links will be in the description box below. Thanks for watching. Bye.